This is the talkSPORT Daily Podcast, and welcome to your home of the Six Nations. I'm your host, Alfie Reynolds.
And I'm former London Irish and England winger, Topsy Ojo.
So the second round of the Championship is done and dusted, and we have loads to get into this week. We'll also look ahead to round 3. It's not a rest week. That's coming up this weekend. So let's get into it. So let's rattle through all 3 games here, Topsy. The scores, just as a reminder: Ireland 20, Italy 13 got us up and running on Saturday. Scotland 31, England 20, and then Wales 12, France 54 in the Sunday games. I mentioned it just there. This is usually a fallow week. What impact do you think that has on the games this weekend? Does it have an impact at all?
Well, we'll see. I mean, you'll look at the impact on the squad. You know, has anybody got any fitness issues? Anybody got any injuries? You know, anybody feeling a bit tired? The players are used to it because if you think in the autumn, some of them go 4 weekends back to back. And, you know, in previous campaigns, some have taken on New Zealand, Australia, South Africa. So they're used to going multiple weeks. It's just they don't do it in the Six Nations. So this will be new. I think the coaches will be looking at their squads and just saying, do we need to freshen things up for round 3? Or actually, if most of the guys don't want to miss any rugby, do they? So if they're good to go again, you pick from who you've got available. So yeah, roll on. It's great for us. Maybe it'll be interesting for the players, but like I say, any opportunity to get out there, play again for their country, especially if you haven't got the result the previous weekend, you'll be chomping at the bit to do it.
I'm really intrigued as to how this looks, whether we do notice it at all. Maybe it won't be a discussion point, but I look at a team like Ireland, for example, that rotated quite a lot for the game against Italy. There were different reasons for that. It wasn't preparing for week 3, but do they almost benefit from the fact that their squad's going to be a little bit fresher? And I suppose England, on the flip side, it might be a case they've just had a bruising defeat at Murrayfield. There weren't loads of changes to that team, so what impact does that have? I suppose what it could potentially do, though, does it potentially benefit the bigger nations? And by bigger nations, I mean those with the deeper resources, mainly France and England.
Yeah, certain teams you could look at it and say, right, they've got the resources, they've got the player depth, so it doesn't matter. Their 1 to 23 is going to be strong regardless. But you know, you look at England who lost, you know, yes, they want to get back on it, but actually, you know, would they have benefited from a 2-week running into that next game? You just don't know. Scotland are on cloud 9. They want to go again. They want to keep that momentum going. Ireland, even though they won, might just want an extra week to prepare to gel the whole group. So I think it'll be different for everyone. I think ultimately, look, you're used to in season going week to week. So whether it's the Six Nations, autumns, or your domestic campaign, like you know you're in it once the season kicks off. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad that there's another fixture coming and we can get stuck in.
I think it's a great thing in terms of the scheduling of the Championship. I always felt like the 2 games, rest week, another game, rest week, just broke it up too much. I think it's great for us. It's great for the fans. Players maybe not so much, but we'll see. I actually spoke to Jamie George about that before the Six Nations started when I was doing interviews up at the England team hotel before the Wales game, and he was like, I'm a fan though. Yes, it might be harder, but I'm a fan. I get it. So maybe most of the players have that sort of attitude. In terms of the round 2 overall, Topsy, defeat for England, a win for Ireland, but not all that convincing. Wales still looking poor. Scotland have raced back into contention because of their performance. Are we looking at a Championship where France are head and shoulders better than all the other teams?
Right now, yes. Head and shoulders above the rest. You talked about that word, depth. So you think about the players that they haven't picked. They had a new centre combination come in and it looked like nothing had changed. And you also say they didn't even pick Fiku to come in. So they've left guys at home and they've brought in these new talent and they've just been absolutely seamless. So good, so destructive, brilliant to watch. They've come out firing, saying we are going to defend our title. Then the rest, you know, horses for courses. You know, you've got played 2, 1-1, lost 1 for most of them, apart from Wales. So they've got to figure their bits and pieces out. I guess for us, again, as fans, broadcasters working on it, can we get to the last weekend and the other nations still have a chance, or is it we're just waiting for France Saturday night to lift the title again?
Yeah, maybe. We'll wait and see. Look, let's get on to the events at Murrayfield. Scotland 31, England 20. We were both there. So much to try and unpick here, Topsy. What was your... Well, now that we've had, you know, a little bit more time, a couple of days to digest it, what are your thoughts and feelings on the result and that England performance?
Yeah, it's quite good to have a bit of time because straight after the game, it is chaos. We're both in it. You know, you're trying to make sense of what just happened, but 40 hours later, you can break it down properly. And Scotland deserve the win. I know there is a running commentary about this is the game that they get up for, but they do. The record speaks for itself, and they hit the ground running at home, a response off the loss to Italy. Tactically, they were good. They won the scraps, scraps that went England's way last week. I think the early kick that bounced into Tuipulotu's hand, he hacks it downfield. Just moments like that went in their favour. You then throw in an early yellow card. I think the first one was harsh. The second one, absolutely fine.
I agree.
But then Scotland said, right, England are down to 14 and they're missing a winger. So what we're going to do, we're going to go wide to where the winger can't get to, or the covering winger can't get to, and we run the ball in the corner. So they were smart. They took advantage from where England was short. And England were short. I think Scotland had 9 line breaks in the first half hour, had the 3 scores. England's tackle success was about 65%. Their line out wasn't functioning as well, down a man. So all those things that you just need to give yourself momentum, they didn't have, and Scotland were ruthless in punishing them. So, yeah, they had them. They had control. And then when even England made opportunities, particularly the second half, get 5 metres out, cough the ball up, it was an off day, a really off day. And you thought it might come because I think Ben Earl touched on it. They don't travel well to Scotland, so it would have been a focus point to go and win this game. And they just didn't give themselves a chance. So, no, Scotland deserved winners. Not a complete disaster for England, but it's something they want to rectify going forwards, because if they are going to have a chance in the competition, they'll need to go away to Rome and definitely go away to Paris and try and get a result.
How alarming was it from an England point of view? Because, and we spoke about this last week, I thought England would win at the weekend, but I could see a world in which Scotland won. It's a good team. As you say, England's recent history at Murrayfield isn't strong at all. But I thought the performance was quite surprising and a real reality check for England, because I thought they'd put a lot of this stuff behind them. If we were sat here and they had lost that game, it had been a tight game, both teams had played well, you might say, well, look, England had come through a lot of tight games recently. Sometimes, whatever it is, one decision or one moment doesn't go your way. But this was an absolute beatdown.
Yeah.
From minute one, England, I think, missed over 20 tackles in the first half. They conceded almost 20 turnovers throughout the entire game. They obviously were conceding penalties. The Arundel stuff, he was going off. Nothing went right for England. And it looked to me like in the moment in the game, and I don't know why this was the case, because they are still very good players, and I think they are still a good team. It just didn't look like they had the answers in that moment.
Yeah, and I felt the same way. It's been the first time in a while where, look, they've had adversity, but they've been able to come through, turn a game around and win it. I think if you look at the team that took the field to begin with, there were a lot of guys who actually hadn't played at Murrayfield for the first time. So you can talk about that as much as you want, but then when the reality hits you, it's different. And then you throw in all the things that happened in the game. You can say, like, it's going to be this, it's going to be fire, we're going to need to weather a storm. But actually, we're not going to lose a man. We're not going to be down 3 scores, because you can't almost plan for those things. You can't plan for your line-out's not functioning, and Scotland are actually being really good at unpicking you where you're weak. So all of a sudden, you're 20, 25 minutes in. Every scenario that maybe you planned for has actually gone out the window because something completely different has happened. And then you need to think on your feet. And even the best can be rattled in that scenario. And look, they tried to work their way back in, and they convert 1 or 2 more in the second half. Who knows? But actually, Scotland didn't let that materialise. They were quite dogged in defence. They were really good, actually, in defence. And they stopped England from getting the momentum that would have allowed them to play a bit more.
Scotland were excellent, don't get me wrong. I guess the problem I have with the argument of plenty of those players hadn't played at Murrayfield is England were actually using that as a reason that the recent history wasn't relevant in the build-up, because these players weren't scarred by it, which is fine. I think that's actually a pretty good argument. But then what we saw, the less experienced players, the experienced players, the leadership, they all look like rabbits in the headlights, I thought. So there's going to be some big questions asked, I think, of England throughout the rest of this championship. I'll tell you what, let's get the Scotland perspective, because I want to get into them a little bit more. Scotland centre Hugh Jones, who, by the way, has now scored 9 tries against England. He has a ridiculous record against England. He joined the talkSPORT breakfast show on Monday morning, and he said that despite the result, they're still not thinking about winning the Six Nations.
We're definitely taking it game by game. So as nice as the England game, like, to win that was, that's fully behind us now. We forget about that, and the only focus really is now on Wales, and that's the only thing that matters. So we're not looking ahead. But yeah, I think like us beating England may have been hoping to sort of go on and do something special in this championship. But like I said before, anyone can beat anyone. So you have to be on it each week and fully focused.
So Hugh Jones, Topsy, says they're not thinking about winning the Six Nations, which I think is probably true, isn't it? They've got 3 more rounds to go. With this Scotland performance, does this, in your mind, put them back in the conversation for winning a title?
Well, first of all, I think they are quietly talking about winning the Six Nations. They're not going to say that out loud, because why wouldn't you? You know, it's in your hands. You go and win the next couple of games, you give yourself a chance, and that's what quietly in the background the players will be thinking about. But ultimately they will know, as we all spoke about in the run-up to this game, beating England is one thing, it's the rest, and that's Scotland's crux. That's something that they need to figure out. It's all well and good showing up for the England fixture, but they don't beat Ireland. I think they've beaten France once in the last 6 years, and you know, those are the hurdles that they need to get past if they're going to go from fourth and third to second and first. You know, so can they? Yes, absolutely. You know, the fixtures, as we spoke about, do you want to go again? Yes, you're going to go and play Wales. Go and put Wales to the sword, go and pick up another 5 points, and then you've got that fallow week to plan attack for the final 2 games and say, right, okay, we are now in the mix. Regardless of what France and the other nations are doing, it's back in their hands, especially because they denied England a losing bonus point.
That could be big. Which
will become a factor down the stretch. So, yeah, for Scotland, you've got to be ambitious. You know, you've got to want more. And like I said, it's what we spoke about. You know, if Scotland are going to achieve something, and for Gregor to take this group to the next level, it has to be about more than England. It has to be about being a serious contender for the Six Nations. So they've now kind of unwritten the Italy loss. They've given themselves a chance. You've got to go and grab it.
Yeah, I said after the game on Saturday, which seems ridiculous when England have just been comprehensively beaten, but that I still felt England should finish second, because I think we've still got a body of evidence from England recently to suggest that they can string results together and be consistent. Whereas from a Scotland point of view, I would argue, show it to me and then I will believe it. But we've seen such inconsistency from Scotland that that's now the challenge. Just to pick up on one point you said there, that kind of Scotland get up for the England game. Like, Scotland themselves would reject that they particularly get up for England, although Gregor Townsend kind of softened on it a little bit after the game, didn't he, and said, well, why is that a bad thing?
Yeah, he did.
Do they? Like, are they, for whatever reason, just able to play better against England than they are than most other teams?
They do. I mean, you see it when Scotland play England, you see it when Wales play England. It is the game that they want to win more than most. And, you know, England would say we want to win it equally as much, but, you know, just look at recent history. You know, 5 out of the last 6. I mean, it could have been 6 out of 6 if not for a Finn Russell missed kick. And Scotland have had the rub of the green, where for a long time they didn't. So there is something in this fixture, especially if you look at recent Six Nations history finishing standings. They'll do well in this fixture, but they won't do well in the rest, and England will actually finish above them in most examples. So it's something they need to figure out. So the last one I remembered on the England as well, which is going to be part of their journey going forwards, learning how to win away at Scotland, learning how to win away at Ireland, and learning how to win away in France. I know they were very close to France 2 years ago. I think it was a last-minute penalty, and it was something I asked, and, you know, it was kind of knocked back a bit. But actually, yeah,
shock.
Shock, horror.
Steve Borthwick just knocked it back at you. I'm amazed, Topsy.
No names mentioned. But yeah, for that group to give themselves something to hang their hat on, and bigger picture, World Cup and all of that, where you're going to be away from home, you've got to be able to produce wherever, whenever. England haven't won away against those nations in the time that Steve Borthwick has, and I don't think even in the last 6 years.
Yeah, their away record's actually pretty poor. Like, you look at the teams they've beaten, it's kind of generally been Italy and Wales, Argentina in the summer being the exception. England's away form is poor, and I think it's going to be a major topic of conversation until they're able to get past it. They've got a huge challenge at the end of this championship when they go to Paris, so we'll see how they get on there. We'll get on to more with England a little bit later. They host Ireland this Saturday, 2:10 kickoff. Scotland travel to Cardiff to face Wales. Should we talk a little bit about Ireland, Topsy? So Ireland 20, Italy 13. I mean, Ireland needed a win. They got a win, but it wasn't that convincing.
No, far from convincing. But you know what? If you think in the build-up to this game, all the talk about transition, about Ireland ageing, needing to kind of refresh the group, well, they did that. They had a look at some new faces. They had a look at some new combinations. And, you know, sometimes it might cost you a game. Now, this didn't. Ireland got over the line. It was not comfortable, but it's a win. And it's experience for some new guys, some new caps to say, like, right, okay, you know what it's like to play in the Six Nations. You do it at home as well. That obviously helps where you can. So now they can build on that, give those guys more experiences, because as we talked on, if you're going to lose in the next year or two, maybe post-World Cup, your Furlongs, your Porters, etc., you're going to want guys there to replace them. And if they haven't been playing in the build-up, you almost risk the scenario that Wales find themselves in, where you lose hundreds and hundreds of caps and the next guys aren't ready. And no one's going to take it easy on them. No one's going to give them that room to grow and develop. So you've almost got to start doing it now. So I don't mind that Ireland went for it. Ultimately, they won, which is great. Always great when you win that game. And they can move on to England this weekend.
One of the producers here at talkSPORT has given us a devilish question, which I think is quite an interesting one actually on Ireland, is are Ireland a good team trying to get out of a bad run or a team trending downwards at the moment? How do you see Andy Farrell's side?
They're still a good team. Like, if everybody is fit and available, those players are there and they will still perform at the highest level. It's a question of now, where do they go beyond this current crop, which they need to plan for. Otherwise, like I said, that scenario happens. So they're doing it. They've started it. I mean, it'd be great to see what they do for England this weekend. Do they continue that trend of mixing it up? I get what a test that would be, to send some newer faces to the Allianz where they lost previously. They don't have a great record there, if I remember rightly. So, guys, go and give it a crack. And if you lose, I want to win every game. Of course, I'm Andy Farrell. I want to win every game. But actually, if this stands you in good stead for the next month, into the summer, into next autumn, into the World Cup, then I'm all for it. So, yeah, a good team trying to figure out where they go next.
Yeah, so time now for the Ireland Fly Half Klaxon, which I don't think we actually have the jingle for, but we may as well get one at this point, because Topsy, every single week you're sat there and I'm asking you this question and you're probably thinking, change the record, but we can't because it's such a massive talking point. So the news is that Jack Crowley is now expected to start against England in place of Sam Prendergast. You've got, obviously, Harry Byrne is kind of in the mix, but it seems to be between the new young guy, Sam Prendergast, bags of talent but clear holes in his game, against Jack Crowley, who's by no means the finished article but is just a little bit more experienced, a little bit more of a controlling head maybe in the 10 jersey. I mean, I'll be honest, to me, I look at Sam Prendergast at the moment, I'm still so excited about his future, but I think he looks like a player that is a bit shot of confidence at the moment. And so therefore, I think it would be smart for Farrell to do that and change to Crowley. Who do you think should be playing fly half at Twickenham?
Yeah, I mean, I was Crowley from the beginning. And then I'm sure I said once Andy Farrell went Prendergast, you stick with him. What was really telling was the comments post-game where Andy Farrell really had to come out and defend Sam. Say, it's keyboard warriors, it's people saying this, you need to look after our young players and you should be getting behind them and supporting them. But
I think it does get a bit like that in Ireland, doesn't it? Because it's the Leinster, Munster, there's the rivalry there.
Munster want their guy, Leinster want their guy. But I guess there is a point where you have to protect the player from themselves. And actually, is this the moment to say to Sam, look, I'm going to pull you out the fire. As much as you want to go again, I feel like in this moment I need to protect you, and almost do the opposite. So actually, when Jack Crowley came on, Ireland, they hadn't secured the victory. He had a really good cameo, some really nice touches, all apart from kicking the ball dead last play of the game. We won't mention that. But
they were going for the bonus point.
They were going for the bonus point.
Big
Could
moment.
be crucial, again, at the end of the championship. But it's an easier scenario to come on and look good, play well, when most of the other players are a bit fatigued. There's a bit more time to see the space and execute, whereas Sam is in the firing line when everybody's fresh and everyone's coming for you. I think Crowley will start. There is still an argument that maybe do you say to Sam, Sam, one more game, and then in the break week, I'm going to pull you out and let Jack take the reins for the final two. But yeah, I think it is almost time, based on Andy's comments after the game, that you say, okay, let's pull him out the firing line and give Jack Crowley the reins.
And let's also talk about Italy, because they lost the game. They could have won it. They could have drawn. They were really within touching distance towards the end of the game. I suppose my question for you, really, Topsy, and I know that I'm asking this after Italy have just lost the game, so it seems a little bit foolish, but I think their performances have been so encouraging. I think, particularly after this weekend with England losing comprehensively to Scotland, that you've got France way out in front, and then probably England, Scotland, Ireland, Italy that are kind of densed or packed together behind them. Razzie tweeted this before the Six Nations. Could Italy finish second? I know they've just lost, but
they can't this year, no, because I think actually the fixtures don't fall in their favour to do that. So they've lost this game. I know they've picked up a point. They take on France next. I mean, I know, again, the last time they played France in this fixture, in this venue, they were a conversion away from winning it.
It was the draw, wasn't it?
It was a draw, hit the post. But with France in the mood they are, I don't see Italy going and causing an upset, so which will really dent their chances of finish second. Could they have their best Six Nations? Yes, they could. I mean, it's testament to how far they've come that they were so bitterly disappointed to lose that game. They had a couple of intercept opportunities in the first half. I know Liner went to the bin with his, but the scrum half had one that literally went through his hands, which should have been 7 points. There was another forward pass that was ruled out in the second half as well. Their scrum was scarily good.
It looked awesome.
I've not seen props in the air for a long time, which is scary. It made me glad I never played in the front row. And they're in a really good spot, and they're actually missing a lot of players as well through injury. I think Brex didn't play for personal reasons, and they've got a few injuries as well. So yeah, Italy are in a good place, but again, for them now and where they are, you don't want to be in a good place and be the plucky loser. You want wins. So again, great challenge for them. Can we go to France and take a scalp? Can we welcome England in a couple of weeks' time and take a scalp? And then can we finish in our best Six Nations ever on the final weekend? We'll see.
I've said the brilliant thing about that sentence that you just uttered is how many years ago, not that long ago, you're looking at France, Italy, and you're thinking Italy have no chance. You're thinking of Italy at home to England. Well, they've never lost to England. They've still never lost to England. But all of a sudden, you're looking at that game in Rome and you're thinking, that is not an easy game for England, which I think says it all about how good the Italy have been so far. Final game of the weekend to review, Wales 12, France 54. I mean, Topsy, France, so impressive. They won. Like, there was no way, really, that Wales were ever going to win this game. France's title to lose, though, isn't it, really? Particularly because of England have lost now. I think France look like the best side by an absolute distance.
Oh, yeah, massively. I mean, they go into this game at home against Italy. Odds are that they will pick up the bonus point, and all of a sudden they're 3 from 3, 15 points in the bag, and they are all guns blazing with a week to rest and prepare to get ready for those two final showdowns. So they didn't really have to go through the gears on Sunday as well. We know where Wales are, but again, Wales made it easy for them. Missed tackles, lack of structure, lack of organisation. Second row's trying to kick the ball and missing, and France picking it up and saying, well, we don't need any help, but yeah, we'll definitely take it. So looking really good, just the way they move the ball to space, the accuracy with which they attack, and they are a really, really good side. What can you say about Wales?
I mean, that's honestly, that was what, as you were speaking there, I was just thinking that. So I think Wales are becoming such a difficult side to talk about, because I know on TV, a lot of the noises on the coverage were kind of, well, it's better than last week. And it was. But I'm like, geez, yeah. So it's 13th Six Nations defeat in a row, 10th straight home loss in the championship, over 1,000 days since their last win in the Six Nations, over 1,400 days since their last home win in the Six Nations, and a record low, so not the sort of record you want, just 57,000 people there for a Six Nations match, obviously ignoring COVID when no one could be there. I mean, what can we say about Wales at the moment?
I mean, those stats they're pretty sad to read, but I guess they tell you the story that it's not just about the rugby on the pitch, it's everything that goes alongside it as well.
And it's not all, obviously, Steve Tandy, we should say, it's not the players and Steve Tandy's fault that the game is in the mess that it is, which is contributing to all of this as well. But we're talking about the results.
Obviously. Yes, that's it. And look, there are some basics that are missing, and Steve will have to get a grip of that. I mean, his passion is defence, but actually there is a bit of a lack of defensive organisation, intent to go and hit and drive back. That's down to the quality of players that he has available. They're just not as good as the French were. They're not as powerful, not as strong. So when you've got a mismatch already, it's going to take a superhuman effort to undo that. And, Wales aren't in the position right now. So all they can keep doing is just keep going. Keep going on the pitch, keep turning up for training, keep working hard, try and get some more cohesion together. Like, if France are going to score, make them work hard for it. It's not a knife through butter scenario. Make them go 10, 15, 20 phases to really wear us down. Try and be accurate with the ball as well. Maybe have a simpler game plan that, look, might not be all that fun, but actually if it keeps you in the game, gets the crowd on side, you give yourself a starting point, and then hopefully longer term fix everything that's going in and around, because it's tough. And I think we said it last week, it's taken Italy decades, and it might take Wales because that's the mess that their game is in at the minute.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I mean, I definitely predicted that France would score 60. So, they didn't get that many, but it was still another game where they shipped 50. Right, Topsy, third round this weekend. Let's go through the games. England-Ireland, 2:10 on Saturday. How differently are you looking at this game now that England have lost, and particularly off the back of that performance in Scotland?
Yeah, a bit differently because, again, they'd have won. Triple Crown could have been wrapped up inside the opening 3 weekends. And now they're looking at, can we keep our championship aspirations alive? They've lost, Ireland have won. Ireland, despite the nature of the win, will be feeling confident of coming to Allianz and picking up a result. They'll have looked at what Scotland did really well and say, you know what, we can replicate some of that. I think we're good enough to do that. For England, it's can they do a Scotland and respond? Obviously, they're great at home, really strong. The crowd will be behind them. Be interesting to see selection-wise what they do. I think Harry Arundel has a hearing, so if he's out, who comes in? Does Tommy Freeman go back to the wing? Do they bring in an Ollie Lawrence?
Tom Curry maybe comes into the back row, something like that.
Yeah, and actually that might be the way they go anyway, because if you look at, again, looking back at the Scotland game, where maybe they needed a bit of punch, something different, something explosive, they didn't really have that to go to. So all of a sudden, if you throw an Ollie Lawrence in, if Marcus Smith appears somewhere on the bench, you have something different in your locker in case the game doesn't go your way. If it goes your way, great. But actually, if it doesn't, you need the ability to change, and you've got some players that can change it for you.
Yeah, I still think England are very capable of winning this game, and actually still potentially, dare I say it, even winning all of their games remaining in the Six Nations. I think what the defeat to Scotland has done has just increased that pressure, hasn't it now? Because you want to be looking at a one defeat Six Nations ideally. If it's going to be two, it's the great thing about the Six Nations, it changes everything. But I think that's why I'm so intrigued of how England approach it and what they look like against Ireland. Wales-Scotland, before the Six Nations, Topsy, I heard a few people say that this would be the game that Wales have circled as their best chance of a win, because I think they've got Italy, but that's on the final weekend. Do you want that kind of pressure game? Avoid the wooden spoon. Obviously, the other nations you perhaps don't think they're close to. Based upon what we've seen from Wales so far, is there just no chance, do you think, or is it still an opportunity for them?
It's still an opportunity because, again, if you look at Scotland, they've massive high from beating England. Yes, they would have talked about, right, we need to back it up, we have to back it up, but actually history tells you that they don't. So there is an opportunity to catch them cold, to get stuck into them early, get your crowd on side, put those doubts in the Scottish minds that here we go again, we're great against England, but actually the rest of the tournament is a bit difficult for us. And just be in the game. Be in the game for as long as possible, and you give yourself a chance. And then anything can happen, So there is a massive chance for Wales to do this weekend. But I do fancy that Scotland will get the job done. I think they should take huge confidence from the way they played, and with where Wales are currently, be ruthless. Go and put them to the sword and show that you can be better than you have been in previous tournaments.
Yeah, I think, look, the Six Nations is a championship that routinely throws up surprises and that sort of thing, but just based upon what we've seen from Wales so far, I know they've played England away, they've had France at home, 2 tough games, but I just haven't seen enough to be able to feel confident that they could get the job done.
They'd like a fallow week. So
yeah, they would.
That's a big
They'd
2
like
weeks
a fallow week, I think, until the World Cup, pretty much. France, Italy. I guess the biggest compliment for this game, I know France can be the heavy favourites here, Topsy, but you're looking at it and you're thinking, well, maybe there's a chance. Maybe there is, which says an awful lot.
Definitely. Like I said, Italy are in a good place. Like, good squad, well coached. Quesada will come with a game plan to kind of try and counter France's strength. That power, that pace, the way they move the ball. Almost say to them, right, we're happy for you to have the ball, but, have it in your own 22. I mean, France might still go. That's where they are at the minute. But yeah, I can see Italy being competitive. I just think France are in an area now where they're so confident with what they're doing. I know the game's not at the Stade, it's been moved to Lille, but I just think they'll be too good. I think they're in such a good place at the minute that, they'll get the job done.
All right, as we always do, score predictions then. England-Ireland.
England 27, Ireland 23.
I'll go 22-15 in favour of England. Wales-Scotland.
Wales 15, Scotland 27.
I'm going to go Wales 10, Scotland 32. I'm going to go for a fairly big Scotland win. And then the final game, France-Italy.
I'm going to go France 33, Italy 20.
33-20. Oh, good. We're going to get some good games, Topsy.
It's wishful thinking maybe, but I want points, I want entertainment.
Yeah, I think that's probably a pretty good way to go. Let me go. Yeah, I'll go France, maybe 32-15 or something. I think Italy will be in it for a bit, but France will ultimately be have too much and pull away.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be good. I mean, this is the great thing, 2 rounds in. I don't know how many predictions we actually got right, but it just throws up so many curveballs, so many stories, and we just get to sit back and enjoy it all.
In terms of the Six Nations table as it stands, France, of course, are top. They've played 2, they've won 2, they've picked up 2 bonus points, they've got the 10 points. This is where it gets interesting, though, in the chasing pack. Scotland currently second because of the 2 bonus points they've picked up so far. They're on 6 points. You've got England third and Italy fourth, both on 5 points, 1 win, 1 defeat. And then Ireland are fifth. They've got 4 points. They didn't pick up a bonus point, as we've been speaking about, and they lost on the opening weekend. Wales, bottom of the pile, as expected, and I'm not sure they're going to move off there. Topsy, that table, I think, is pretty revealing, isn't it? For France out in front, as we've been saying, Scotland, England, Italy, Ireland, not much between them.
No, not at all. And it's one team currently head and shoulders. The chasing pack really scrapping, and I think we're going to be talking points as the round goes on, losing bonus point, try bonus points, and then Wales out of sight, out of contention, just trying to be part of the conversation.
Come on, Wales, surprise us this weekend. That's what we want to happen. Let's throw a cat amongst the pigeons. Topsy, same time next week. Look forward to it.
Same time next week. Looking forward to it.
Good stuff. We'll be back with you next Wednesday. There'll be another talkSPORT Daily for you tomorrow. Until then, see you next time.